Good morning, Lons. Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, Zoe. Good morning, Avery. Good morning, Grayson. Good morning, Elle. Good morning, Terrell. Good morning, Camille. Good morning, Kason. Good morning, Savannah. Good morning, Emmeline. And good morning, Cash. Today I thought we would continue with our lesson in our book, Whistle for Willie. We talked about yesterday how we had been introduced to Peter before. We knew Peter from the book, The Snowy Day. And when we read this, whoops, it went off. When we read The Snowy Day, we determined that Peter lived in an apartment building. We figured that out because Peter was talking to his neighbor across the hall. So we knew from that gave us a clue that he lived in an apartment building. Now, today, let's talk about some other things we've noticed from A Whistle for Willie. First of all, when we do a story each week, we always have one book that we read several times. Do you remember how many times we read that book? Did you say 3? We do. We read them 3 times. The first time we read the book, I introduce the book to you, and I go through and I read every single sentence in the book. Remember, a sentence is a group of words that describes to us what is happening on each page. Then the second time we read the book, I read a few of the words, and you tell me the other parts of the story, and we discuss things on each page. Then the third time we read our story, I open the book and I show you the pages, and you recite the story to me. You tell me the story. So today let's start on our second read, where I'll read some of the words and we'll look at the pictures, and from home you can talk about what is happening and see if you remember what's happening on each page. Now, we noticed again in this story that there's a traffic light. This is the second story we've seen Peter and the traffic light. Where would you typically see a traffic light? Did you say at a busy road? A busy intersection, a place where 2 roads come together and cross each other or meet each other, and this light helps control the flow of traffic. Traffic lights can also be helpful for pedestrians. Peter is a pedestrian. He is walking, and if he needed to cross the road, this traffic light could be helpful in giving him a signal when to cross the road. Oh, how Peter wished he could whistle. Remember right here what happens. Peter saw another boy at the park with his dog, and that boy whistled and the dog came to him. And that made Peter wish that he could whistle for his dog, Willie, to come to him. And we learn right here that Peter tried to whistle, but he couldn't. Instead, he began to turn himself around and around, and remember what happens? He keeps spinning around and around, and when he stopped, he got what? He got dizzy. Peter got really dizzy, and it made everything look like it was going up and down and spinning all around. Peter saw his dog Willie, and what did he do? Do you remember? He hid in an empty carton on the sidewalk. And he thought it would be funny if he whistled. Willie would stop and look around to see who it was. But Peter still couldn't whistle. It said he kept trying. He tried again, no whistle, so Willie just walked on past him. got out of the carton and he started home. And on the way home, what did he do? Remember, he took some colored chalk and he drew a line all the way to his door. And remember the two girls jumping rope? He just circled around them with his chalk. And he went right up to his door. And we also learn in this story that Peter lives close to a business. What is the business Peter lives close to? Do you remember? We said that this pole was an indicator. It gives us a clue of what Peter lives close to. Do you remember what it was called? It was a barber shop. Peter lives close to a barber shop. And a barber shop is a place where people get their hair cut. We also noticed a cat in the window. So when Peter gets home, what does he do? He puts on his dad's hat. It says he went into the house and put on his father's old hat to make himself feel more grown up. He looked into the mirror to practice whistling, but what happened? Still no whistle. When his mother saw what he was doing, Peter pretended that he was his father. And he said, "I've come home early today. Where is Peter?" And what did his mother tell him? That Peter and Willie were outside. And Peter said he's going to go outside and look for them. Look, he wore his dad's hat outside. It says he walked along a crack in the sidewalk. Then he tried to run away from his shadow. So he's playing the whole time he's outside. He jumped off his shadow, but when he landed, they were together again. He came to the corner where the carton was, and who did he see? Who is this? It's Willie. So Peter scrambled. Scrambled means he rushed really quick to get under the carton, and he blew, and he blew, and what happens? Out came a real whistle. And Willie stopped and looked around to see who it was. Look at Willie looking around. "It's me," Peter shouted, and he stood up, and Willie raced straight to him. Peter ran home to show his father and his mother what he could do. They loved Peter's whistling, and so did Willie. Look at Willie setting up like that. It's a pretty cool trick. And that was where now Peter goes to, his mom sends him on an errand, and Peter's mother asked him and Willie to go on an errand to the grocery store. And since she sent Peter, it must be within walking distance. Do you have a grocery store you can walk to from your home? I don't. I have to drive in the car. He whistled all the way there, and he whistled all the way home. And we also see on Peter's journey to the grocery store, we see this again, the traffic light. You see Peter carrying this bag of groceries? And look, what is Willie carrying? He's carrying a newspaper. And that was the end of our story. Remember, in our story, we discussed how Peter was learning to do something new. He decided that he wanted to learn how to whistle, so he tried. He was very determined. He was very persistent, meaning he tried over and over again until he got it. Have you learned how to whistle yet? Not me. I have not learned how to whistle. We talked about Peter learning how to whistle, and when Peter learned how to whistle, he was using his mouth. He was trying to learn how to whistle with his mouth. But there's also, look, you see this? This is a different type of whistle. This is a little gadget you can use that will make a whistling noise. Do any of y'all have one of these? These are fun too. Do you know any person that uses one of these on a regular basis? Maybe a coach or a teacher, or I know some of you like to go to the LSU games. You've probably seen the band there. The drum major, the person that leads the band, they often use this type of whistle. That whistling can be really, really cool. I also talked to you about learning something new in general, just maybe a new game, or learning to do something new in the kitchen. I know you're great chefs. So keep me posted. I'd love to get your pictures and your messages on Remind. I would love to hear from you and see what you're doing. So please keep me updated. And the next time we come to Whistle for Willie, it'll be your turn to tell the story. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.